Why not? Why not? Why would we even hope that everything was going? Okay, so in theory, this time the stream should be going. God damn it, Crimsonclad. Yeah, so we'll figure out the Vim stream and everything else. But how have you been for 2 weeks? If you didn't know, I ran off to Alaska. In general, when times get tough, I disappear into the woods, and it was well necessary and needed. So your life is boring right now. Well, that's okay. Boring isn't always a bad thing, is it? Absolutely not. So Cripes, we're gonna have to do what we have to do. Welcome back from the wilderness. Hey, oh my goodness, Matt's here. So I'm gonna try and get all of the things going, all of the streams firing. Everything looks connected. I turned off Facebook Live because that's a disaster. Forget that noise. But yeah, so let's hope and pray that everything is doing the thing, that all of the chooches are choochin, chachin, whatever it is that needs to happen, and we'll go from there. All right, so listen, my name is Crimsonclad, and yes, I was out in the wilderness in Alaska. And so if you've never been to Alaska, I would love to tell you a little bit about it. I'd love to share some of my stories with you, but I also have a playlist full of music that is maybe a little bit mournful, maybe a little bit heavier and darker. And I also have some random, slightly oceany, I said choochins and chachins, because you got to make sure that your chooch is choochin and your chach is chachin, and, you know, never the twain shall meet. But yeah, so I've got songs on the playlist tonight that are roughly kind of ocean and boat related, because I'm not that creative. And if you've never been up to Alaska, there aren't actually a lot of ways to get to Alaska. Now, whether you are from Canada, whether you're from the US, wherever you may be, Alaska is kind of like the last frontier. And I live in a province called BC, and you guys mostly know this. I live in a place in Canada called British Columbia, and it is beautiful, and it is wild. It is full of mountains and trees, and the wind and the waves. Cly is here. Yay! People are actually coming now that I'm back. Monkey Club. Yay! But so here's the deal. Getting up there can be really hard, because for most people, driving up to Alaska isn't possible. And even once you do drive up to Alaska, parts of Alaska are not accessible by vehicle. And when you get up there, yes, Cly says he's from Canada's butthole, also known as Manitoba. So any other Canadians who are here, you know, he's rounding it out. But yeah, British Columbia is a real place. It's a beautiful place. Did I stop at the hot springs on the way up? Well, no, because I didn't drive. I took the boat up, which is one of the best ways, one of the absolute best ways to get to Alaska and to see incredible stuff. Now, you could cruise up on a cruise ship, you can take a ferry, you can take small charter boats. There's lots of different ways to do it. But for a lot of these ports and places like Juneau, like Skagway, like Haines, Ketchikan, a bunch of these little tiny places you just can't get to unless you either go by boat or by plane. Well, planes are tricky right now, and planes in Alaska, especially when you are, oh, thank you, Clay, especially when you are in this time of year, which is still a little bit wintry, pretty sketchy, because they're small passenger planes. If you've ever flown in like a Cessna or, you know, all of the tiny planes that people often personally have, then that's usually how you get around up there. But I digress. So I went up to Alaska and I took the boat from place to place to place. I stopped in at some of my absolute favorite cities in the world. Alaska feels like BC, but a little bigger and a little wilder. So I've got lots of stories to talk to you guys about. I got some great fun adventures. Hopefully you guys will be interested. Crim, it is summer. Yeah, it's not though. All right. So if you were here at the start of the show, I did indeed play a track by Emperor, arguably, you know, one of the most important, influential bands in metal. Just in case you're watching the screen here, you got to be rocking the shirt today. But the track that I played was called With Strength I Burn, and I'll put it on tonight's playlist. If you are a little scared of some of these classic heavy bands. This is a great track. And kind of falling in to the sailing on a ship, being carried over the waters and all of the fun things like that. Hey, Brady, welcome. So I'm stoked to have you here tonight. And what we are going to do is we're going to listen to a lot of heavy metal. We're going to talk some shit. We're going to have some fun. And hopefully I'm going to entertain you guys for like 3 hours with loud fucking music. So A++, wood music again, and we'll go from there. Yeah, there will potentially be some 𝖊𝖆𝖆 tonight. I don't have it on the playlist, but we'll see how much music we can fit. And if we need extra music, then yes, we'll put some 𝖊𝖆𝖆 on, because pretty much every 𝖊𝖆𝖆 song is about, debauchery on a boat. So you're on a boat, motherfucker. All right, so while we get started tonight, since I have a lot of different stuff here, I thought we would get started with some kind of gent, because it's been a while since I've played some kind of fun progressive stuff for you. Now, I will say some of the tracks on tonight's playlist, a little doomier, a little slower, a little bit down tempo, and honestly, a little bit depressing, because I'm in that weird place where you come back from a vacation and you need a vacation from your vacation, and all of the things that you didn't do while you were on vacation have stacked up, and all of the shit that you thought you were vacationing from, turns out when you run away from your problems, they don't leave. They don't go away. They just wait for you to come back. The fuckers. All right. So yeah, we'll talk about a lot of fun stuff. And I would love to share a couple of adventures with you, because I did go on some once-in-a-lifetime adventure, which is great. I've been to Alaska before. I had some big things that I wanted to check off. I knew I needed to go back. So I will talk with you guys about them. I want to hear about what your types of adventures are. And we'll talk about just dumb stuff like we always do, punctuated with good music. So yes, we will start. Yeah, problems like to hide in the dark and give you jump scares. Agreed. So let's quickly get started here, because I raced home to catch the end of Post Up and I picked out a bunch of good music for you. I want to play something by a group called The Contortionist, and I don't know that I've ever shared them on this show before, which is insane. Why would I do that? I don't know. But they make really cool kind of prog metal music, and they have a lot of pianos and sort of melody-driven gent music. But then there's some unclean singing thrown in there as well. And so they've been around, I don't know, since the 2010s anyways, and here we are in the 20aughts. Is that what we call them? I don't know. And so they've got a couple of really great albums out there. I'm going to play something off of one that is actually not that old, a 2019 EP called Our Bones. So we'll start with some progressive gent. That is beautiful art, Clay. Fuck yeah. And you guys will listen to loud music. We will round up the troops. We'll get them in on all sorts of platforms because, of course, unless you forgot, and I'm sure you would never forget, you can watch and listen anywhere you want. Where is it that you like to get your streaming content? That's where you can go. Twitch, Vim TV, Trovo, Theta. Earn yourself some crypto if you want, or hang out on mspwaves.com here in the Discord. Whatever works. So we'll do that. I'm going to play this track for you. We're going to fix this face. And I'm a fat ass because I went on vacation. So I'm going to eat carrots today. That's what we're going to do. You guys can eat the junk food today. Somebody order a pizza on my behalf, okay? Let's do it. You can listen to me crunch a carrot just to annoy Ron. You know, we're going to get into ASMR again. I know we are. Fuck. So stupid. ASMR is stupid. I don't care if you're offended. It's stupid. Let's just play some metal. Fucking ASMR. All right. The track is called Follow. Wherever you go, that's where I will follow. I will chase you down and put good heavy metal in your ears. My name is Crimsonclad, and this is Fullforce Radio.
Took all the drugs
Pretend you didn't hear this. I almost made it back in time. I had to go grab my glasses. Hey, okay. So let's get back. There you go. We started off with a little bit of Gent from the Contortionist. Let me get my eyeballs on so I can see you better. My name is Crimsonclad, and this is Fullforce Radio. And for 3 hours, I talk shit and I play heavy metal. And we are hanging about today after far too many weeks off. Far too many weeks off, people. I was away in Alaska. I needed a vacation very desperately. And, Sepsin was asking for a doggo update. Well, the dogs are lovely. Let me tell you, the dogs are lovely. But one of the things that happens, if you've never owned a dog, let me paint a picture for you. I got home. One of the reasons I was in such a rush for Full Force Radio today, I got home and there's this thing that happens when you turn your key in the door and you open the house and you get home and you think, oh, I'm home after a long day. This is delightful. How wonderful. And Murphy is moping, isn't he? Well, something like that. And as I open the door and my beautiful dog children greet me, both of them are so excited to see me. An odor, a smell comes out from the door. Fight him immediately. No, not quite. So, I can smell someone has pooped. And this is not a common thing. I promise that if you have dogs, they will not shit all over your house. But Murphy has been having stomach issues for the last couple days. And we could talk a little bit more about that because we as a unit have just been reunited after my vacation. Murphy and Lulu went to stay with family. And one of the most entertaining things that happens, and I'll get back to the poop, don't you worry. One of the most entertaining thing that happens, tell me if this has ever happened to you. Took them over there and I said, here are the dogs. Here is the instructions for feeding the dogs. Here is the fuck off big thing of food for the dogs. Here is a cup. 1 cup into the bowl, twice a day, feed the dogs. It seems so simple. No, I got back and I was informed that doesn't feel like enough food. So I fed them 3 cups a day. And I'm like, oh, okay. So you literally 50% above and beyond fed them more than they needed the entire time I was gone. Because you fell for it? You fell for the sad dog eyes? So since we've been home, and we've all been reunited, Murphy's stomach has not quite been right. And I suspect it is because while staying with the babysitter, he conned them into anything and everything. Yeah, you had one job. You had one job, 1 cup, 1 bowl, 1 dog. God. So anyways, since I've been home, doggy tum-tums have not been super happy. I get home today, I let the dogs, get out of my way. I walk into the house and I go, yes, it has happened. It has happened. And indeed, he's really, really good, but I did have to clean up a really fun wet splorch in my kitchen. Thank God it was in my kitchen. But I will say, I'm going, Full Force Radio is in 20 minutes, as I am, halfway dressed, 1 sock on, cleaning up a puddle of wet shit off my kitchen floor. The joys of dog ownership. And you know what? I'm pretty sure that's basically like having a partner, having a kid, whatever. It's going to happen to you at some point. But all you had to do was just follow the instructions. My poor dog. So he's sad and my house smells like poo-poo right now. Once the show is over, I will go downstairs and I will clean the rest of it up. And then my house will no longer smell like poo-poo. And then I will have to make my dog feel less bad because he's so sad. Aww. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I mean, get you a girl who can clean up wet poops, I guess. Maybe. Get you anyone who can clean up wet poops. Someday it will probably come in handy. But yeah, no, my dogs are wonderful and this is not a normal occurrence. But, today, if everything had to go wrong at once, why not just throw a wet puddle of shit on top of it? Why not? Fuck. All right, so that's the 2 dogs, 1 cup. No, sir, absolutely not. I say nay to you, sir. All right. So yeah, what else were we talking about? I ran off to Alaska and I have a lot of fun stories for you. And yes, exactly. Why are you like this? All of you. It's a question I ask constantly on Fullforce Radio. I also ask myself, why am I like this? I don't know. But I'll be happy to share some photos with you. The only other update with the dogs is Lulu the desert dog is obsessed with grass. She loves grass. She doesn't know what to do when she sees grass. She's very excited by it. And so what ends up happening is every patch of nice grass that we pass when we're out on our walks becomes the most rolling, flailing, out of control party you've ever freaking seen in your entire life. This is very exciting for her. She came from a land of dust and heat. And so our walks basically are, she'll stop and she'll kind of blink and then just bodily throw herself on the ground and just thwump as hard as she can and flail like crazy. And, people are going by and I'm like, it's not a seizure. She just likes grass. It's fine. Don't worry about it. As she's just like everywhere. That's the dog update. Pooping and flooping. Dogs. Okay, so I got lots of music. I want to play lots of music for you guys tonight. And then I want to talk to you about fun stuff. And also, I would indeed love to hear about what's been going on with you. And then I will share some adventures from my time in Alaska. I am hoping that maybe I will be able to do some posts and share some stuff with you. And of course, I will share some dog pictures on the overlay for those of you who are watching and listening around the web. And I guess I better get the Vim stream going, huh? So I will do that in the background while we are all hanging out. My name is Crimsonclad, and this is a heavy metal show, but it's also just a best friends show. So every week I'm here for 3 hours. I play you loud music, and we talk about whatever comes up. I'm actually slightly surprised the dog poo topic didn't go too far off the rails, but of course we're still early in the show and I have faith that you guys will ruin everything. So we started off with some genty gent. I want to play you something by a band that I don't know that many people know, but that I have had on my radar and that I've shared with you probably in the last couple months. And they're out of Seattle, Washington. Now you guys know I'm over here on the West Coast, and I'm always trying to put Canadian metal in your ears, and I'm always trying to put West Coast metal in your ears. Yeah, I believe in you. I believe you're all absolutely disgusting. I have faith. We have time. The poopening shall continue. But so these guys they don't even have 1,000 listeners per month on Spotify. So I'm going to play something. It's a brand new release by them. The band is called 𝖒𝖊𝖙, and they put out an album in 2021 called Luminous. And it's good. It's good. I don't love a lot of metalcore, but I do indeed. Canada has metal. Yeah, no, not at all. Don't worry about it. Not even a little bit. But they put out an album and I actually shared it with you guys and it is really, really good. Now, I don't know how many of you guys like metalcore. Metalcore is kind of like, I don't even want to say like the new metal, but you've got screaming, you've got melodies, it's a little emo-ier. I don't know. Listen, let's just see what you guys think. There is a lot of loudness and screaming in tonight's playlist. So for those of you with baby ears that we have to cover sometimes, you're going to get tough and you're going to have a good night. We're going to talk about poop and put a lot of screaming in your ears and you're going to love it. But check this band out. See what you think. I am stoked on this new release. I'm looking forward to the album to go with it. My name is Crimsonclad. I am recovering from vacationing and shows and all sorts of shit going on in my life. And I can't think of anything that would make me happier than just spending it with you guys for 3 hours. I know that I don't talk about world events and, topics that are popular, but every now and again, I can entertain you. So hopefully, maybe I could do it with some loud music on Fullforce Radio.
This days was full to rain.
so pretty. Hey, so Pike is here. Lots of people are hopping in. I see you all over the place. Discord, Twitch, Vim, Trovo, Theta, mspwaves.com, and wherever it is that you want to listen or hang out or check out music tonight. So, yeah, you know what? I agree. Clay's saying the world is fucked, but I haven't been this excited for life in years. And, you know, sometimes you do. Totally. You need to let go and do whatever it is you're going to do. The universe absolutely doesn't give a shit about you. And we've talked about it on this show before. It's not actually a depressing thing when you think about it. The universe is going to keep on universing. So whatever you do, I'm not saying you don't matter, because that's not the truth. But in the scheme of things, on a macro level, you don't. And that's so freeing. So go out there, be happy, have a good life, you know, take off, do whatever you want. Because at the end of the day, you're not getting out alive. So with that being said, you know, we started off talking about how I got home and my dog's, one of my dogs has a sore tummy and has pooped on my floor. It doesn't matter. Don't even worry about it. In the scope of the universe, what is one tiny wet dog poop compared to everything else? So one of the things that I would love to talk with you guys about is the fact that, you know, I mentioned that Alaska, one of the best ways to get around, if you can't fly up, because driving up is very difficult and many of the cities are not accessible by road at all. The only way in is on a boat. LK is true. You are the universe. All of the little bits and pieces of you make up everything good in this world. We are little motes of dust, all just sparkling and broing around in the breeze together. But so here's the deal. I took the boat up to Alaska and I stopped in a couple places. I stopped in Juneau. I stopped in Ketchikan. I stopped in Skagway, Haines, Icy Strait Point, a bunch of different places that you can't really get to unless you get there on a boat. Now, if you guys know, when I first started my journey on the blockchain, and even when I first started kind of entertaining and all this other stuff, one of the biggest things that I ever did in my life was I took the time to get up to Denali. Denali National Preserve is in Alaska, and Denali, Mount McKinley, the mountain there is one of the biggest and most wonderful in the world. And I've always had these dreams of mountains. And I shared this lifelong dream of wanting to stand on Denali. Now, I'm not a mountain climber. We've talked about this on this show, you know. There's lots of black metal bands. There are lots of other bands, you know, all under the metal genre umbrella that love to write about the majesty of nature and all of that nonsense, right? 𝖊𝖕𝖎𝖆 like latest album Up North, it's basically all about how fucking cool mountains are, and you will find that across the entire metal genre. If it isn't, you know, worshiping the devil or doing a lot of drugs, it's probably trees and mountains, right? We all have a niche that we're in. But when I was there, I didn't get a chance to stand on Denali. And, you know, I had to charter a flight to try and get up. So this time around, I set my sights a little lower and a little more manageable. And I did some training and I did a bit of climbing here in preparation. And one of the coolest things that I did this time in Alaska, outside of Juneau, there is an incredibly beautiful glacier. And it sits on a glacial lake. And the lake is called Mendenhall. And the glacier is called Mendenhall. And apparently the glacier is actually named after a man who was never there. He's never been to the glacier. He died never being to the glacier. But it's named after him anyways, because white people. But one of the coolest things I did this time around is I hired a guide so I wouldn't fall into the ice and die. Good idea. I put on crampons, I got an ice pick, I got a bunch of harnesses, and I climbed up the face of the Mendenhall Glacier and made my way up the front of the glacier. And it was gorgeous. It was amazing. So I'm gonna share some photos with you guys because it's one of the coolest things I've ever done. And I know for a lot of people, the idea of going on a vacation to see a big fuck off chunk of ice and then climb said chunk of ice might not be your cup of tea. So my goal today is to share some of those photos and stuff with you. We'll get them up on the overlay. So if you don't want to do it, you don't have to do it. It's all good in the hood. how cold was it? The water in the lake was below zero. It was, I guess, not quite cold enough to freeze over, which I think technically zero is. So what is that in American? American's stupid. 32 degrees? I don't know. Listen, imperial and metric, we've had this talk before. Everybody's going to throw down. There's going to be a mad fight in the chat. But here's the deal. Here's why metric makes sense. 0, freezing. 100, boiling. Anywhere in between. Very quantifiable. Imperial, what are you doing? What are you doing? Times 2 point something divided by carry the... You guys just like stupid space numbers. So I don't know how to tell you how cold it was. It was very cold. It was as cold as water could be without being ice. Cold. I don't know. But it was sunny and beautiful. So let's do this. I'm going to grab a track because I already said I'm going to put some sort of darker, deeper, slightly... Everybody's arguing about government in the chat. Government is stupid. It is a necessary evil, but we'll make it happen. We'll just don't stress about it too much. So I want to play you something. Remember we were talking about that good old Canadian metal? I want to play you Canadian black metal royalty. And I want to play you a track that makes me think of all of the things that growing up in sort of a temperate part of Canada make me appreciate. We've talked about this, back east, upper parts, lots of parts of Canada, very cold, very fucking cold, lots of snow, very miserable. Parts of Alaska for most of the year, very cold. But where I am, the winters are beautiful and they're not very cold. And I grew up with a love and appreciation for mountains with snow on them and chasing those quiet moments out on the mountains. So I'm going to, you've already shot one of your neighbors. Oh, you have. Geez, I read that as you did already shoot a neighbor. And I was like, wow, that is quite a thing to drop in chat. But you're saying you would have. Got it. All good. On that note, I'm going to play you a track by a band called 𝖊𝖕𝖎𝖆. We've talked about this before. I love them very much, but they have a song called The Northern Cold, and it's all about reminiscing about winters in Canada, growing up as a kid, and how they are beautiful and depressing and inspiring and all of the things that kind of come together around a cold weather vacation instead of maybe a lay on the beach and have a Corona in Mexico vacation. Ooh, can we talk about Corona anymore? Can I do? I don't know. What will get me canceled? Let's find out. But here's this track. I'm going to play you The Northern Cold. It is a beautiful song. And when we come back, I will share some photos with you from the glacier and doing some glacier climbing. And I want to talk to you guys a little bit about, do you think if somebody picked you up and dropped you in the woods, if you went out to Alaska or somewhere else, do you think that you could make it? I'm curious. I'm curious to know. Let's do this. It's Fullforce Radio. Listen to that wind. Yeah. What is this? What are these hands? So good. There you go. I mean, I'm not saying that black metal is all about snow and wind and the waves and the mountains and the feeling that you get when you are cold as ice, inside and outside your heart, your soul. All black everything. Hey, my name is Crimsonclad, and we are talking a little bit about the fact that I have been gone for 2 weeks. I've been gone for 2 weeks. You probably didn't even notice. It's for the best, really. So I ran off to Alaska. And desperately needed. One of the coolest and best and worst parts about entertaining 𝖊𝖕𝖎𝖎. You literally just listened to what was essentially some black metal. I mean, I hate to tell you, but you did. Canadian black metal, nonetheless. But so here's the deal. Oh, you all noticed. Lord. Sorry. No, it's okay. Ron doesn't have to come back. He's a very busy clown. And like I said, I don't talk about stuff like the clown world does, so I know his show is very, very popular, but I want to tell you stories anyways. So here's the deal. I wanted to kind of share some of those photos with you, and I did in the Discord, but I'll also share them on the overlay as well. So I went off to Alaska and I climbed the face of the glacier, but what I was saying is, one of the coolest and worst and best things about being so technically minded, about, working in crypto and doing everything digitally these days, is Lord Almighty, do I ever need a break? And when I need a break, see, look he doesn't care. He just wants to know if anything's broken. When I need a break, I need to get out into the woods. I need to recharge naturally, right? But this was an important trip for me because there's been a lot going on in my life, as per usual. And I feel like I'm always telling you guys this, but I'm about ready for a break. Maybe you are too. So here's the deal. Let's talk a little bit about that track, and then I'll show you guys some stuff on the glacier. So there's a track called The Northern Cold. And the lyrics are, I'm at home in the north when I'm alone in the northern cold. And I belong in the north when I'm at home in the northern cold. And if you seek understanding, I'll try to explain to you the origins of my madness and my strength in solitude. Seldom seen, seldom spoken. My heart was my compass and it was broken. Mine was that of a quiet love, deep and true. The long ride on the road to nowhere, the cold walks in the woods alone. In my ocean, the water was frozen, and I could see my reflection within the ice. It's a pretty fucking beautiful track, and also sad. The idea that there is something a little bit sad in the beauty of nature. This new girl is here. Hi, I'm so glad you're here, and I hope everything is turning around for you. But so here's the deal. Let me show you something about the Mendenhall Glacier. So some of those photos that I was sharing with you guys, let's just pop over. This is what my view was like on the way over. So the way to get to the glacier, because the glacier actually doesn't touch any of the land around it, is to canoe. So I hired a guide and I went in a canoe with a couple of other people, and we canoed miles across the Mendenhall Lake. And let me tell you, have you ever canoed before, friends? Because I have. I'm Canadian. Canadians canoe. In fact, we pick up the canoe and we walk with the canoe, and that's called portaging. Never say you never learned anything on a Fullforce radio. But so, as metal as it is to carry your boat, because you don't even want to paddle the boat, you need pain and suffering in the woods to carry your boat through the trees. Canoeing. Let me fucking tell you, at least 3 of the people in this boat were not paddling at all. In fact, they were just using the paddle to fling ice cold water into my crotch. How, goddamn you, can you get in a canoe and not know how to paddle a canoe? And we even had a canoe lesson before we left, and these people, so one of them's trying to work it like a rowboat. You can't do that. A canoe paddle isn't attached, just a flippy floppy chicken wing across the fucking... I did do all the work. Me, the guides, like 2 other men did all the work. And it's not a short paddle, let me tell you. Miles of paddling into a headwind on a glacial lake. No problem. Just sit there, fam. No big deal. Take a selfie, why don't you? Oh, God. So in any case, in the view here that you can see, if you're watching on the screen, and if you're not, let me describe it to you. Mendenhall Lake is this beautiful, expansive lake, and it wraps around a peninsula that comes kind of out before the glacier. Now, the whole lake, the whole valley, in fact, was formed by this glacier, and as the glacier pulls back, it is scraping out this beautiful channel that is filling with runoff, and the trees are starting to come down and take over the bare rock that the glacier left behind. The glacier is receding quite a bit, and the last time I was in Alaska, it was way bigger than this. But you can't actually walk to the edge of the glacier before. Back in the day, let's take a little boo. Let's do a little history lesson here. We're looking at Google Maps. Now, there is a big thing in the center, a big white kind of spot in the center here, and we're going to zoom in on it. That is the glacier. It's 13 miles long, and you can see Mendenhall Lake here, and you can see the West Glacier Trailhead. That right here is where I started. So we had to paddle across the lake, all the way across this little Mendenhall sign, all the way around this kind of area here, all the way up to the Mendenhall Glacier itself. And when you zoom in, you realize there is nothing but ice and rock. And it was so cool. So we landed somewhere around here on the rocks, maybe. We'll call it right around here. Walked up here, up this channel towards where this runoff is, and then climbed up this vertical face. Pretty freaking wild. And I'll tell you, once we got up there, it was beautiful. Now, one of the things that I will ask, and we'll see, we'll see if this is ever something you've done. Have you ever climbed in crampons? Because I have not. Crampons are those pointy little fuckers that you attach to your shoes, and you have to kick, but they let you be like Spider-Man. You can basically climb up vertical faces. I've never had a chance to do this. So here are some things that I've learned. When your crampons stick in the ice and you fall backwards, your feet stay stuck. And if you have to get up again, it is really difficult because your feet are stuck. And you then have to try and pull yourself up a vertical surface while hanging upside down with your feet stuck in the ice. Let me understand this. You climbed up the face of a glacier with crampons. I did indeed. Now, to be fair, it's not completely vertical. There are some spots that are pretty close, but overall, as you can see in this picture, it is an ascent upwards. Absolutely beautiful. Now, I will say, if you ever go anywhere, please get a guide. One of the things that was so fascinating to me and also terrifying and wonderful is that the glacier is changing. Now, however you feel about the idea of climate change, global warming, global cooling, global what the fuck is happening with the weather, wherever you are at that, the glaciers are receding at an unprecedented rate. And we are in a cycle. I did almost Darwinism myself. We are in a cycle where we're supposed to be cooling down, but it hasn't happened yet. In the 60s, we were expecting that the ebb and flow of nature, that temperature kind of jam that we do, we get warm, we get cold, we get warm, we get cold, didn't quite happen. But what that means is my guide was telling me that the glacier is changing day by day. He figures that he will get about 50 to 100 more people up there, and that's it for the year. And in fact, there were cracks forming and like icy, hey, Otto, I am back. There were these icy sort of openings, cracks, hundreds of feet down into the ice that were opening day by day, 3, 4, 5 inches at a time. Now, the glacier, since I was there in 2016, has receded about 300 feet back and laterally has receded and has deflated as well. But not to be a bummer, I'm just saying, there's this beautiful slope. And one of the coolest and most interesting things about this beautiful slope is that as the ice is moving and shifting under your feet, you're hoping you don't die. Have a guide. They don't have year markers, actually, but there's a history in the Glacier Welcome Center on the edge of Mendenhall that has all the history. So here is another image. Now, this one doesn't look like it. It looks like a giant snow pussy. I'm not going to lie. There's kind of a little bump at the top. It looks a little bit like a clit. It's got kind of a lippy shape to it. You can't tell, but this is 200 or so feet deep. The water is there and it's clear. Now, if you've never been to a glacier, and this was something that shocked me that I never totally understood. I know, it's an ice pussy. It looks like a Photoshop. I mean, it's not, which is crazy. What I learned, because I'm stupid and I love to ask questions, is that the ice is blue because of the way that it crystallizes. It reflects only blue light back to you. That's why it looks so blue. But one of the weirdest and coolest things is this water is unsullied. And so you walk to the edge of the cliff and your guide holds you by the harness because if you die, he'll be in a lot of trouble. And you look in here and it never ends. You can see 200 feet down and your brain cannot process what this looks like. I can't explain to you. And let's see, can I zoom in much further than this? No, not really. So there is this slush sitting on top and there is sort of this gray black, that's soot and dirt that has fallen from our atmosphere from as far back as the Industrial Revolution. Fucking wild, man. But so anyways, yeah. I will show you guys a photo of me on the ice too, which is very embarrassing, and that's fine. I'll show you. But then we'll never talk about it again. Agreed? All right, agreed. So let's play another track, and then I'm going to come back, and I'm going to talk to you guys about where I'm going with this, which is, maybe you don't live in a cold place. Maybe this is not your jam. Do you think you have survival skills? I can tell you, I am a fair weather, cold weather girl. I want to be out in the cold weather as long as my gear is still good, still dry, and the temperature is amenable. If it gets too cold, fuck that shit. I'm coming home. So, in the meantime, I'm going to play you a new track by Zion. I'm going to play you a track called Wayward Son. Not Carry On My Wayward Son. Not that son. Son, as in the one that is slowly burning us to a crisp where we are going to die. The angry orange ball in the sky. That one. Wayward Son. My name is Crimsonclad. We'll play this track. We'll come back. We'll talk a little bit more. Because I have an interesting little factoid for you guys. I swear this is a heavy metal show, but tonight we're talking about ice and snow and glaciers and vacations and all that good stuff, punctuated by some amazing heavy metal. Epic!
With flowers, we see the
There you go. Zion, a banging new track. Look at this, a call from numerous. We always get the thing here in Canada, where they're like, if it's numerous, don't hang up on us. We have to do our job, and it's sad. Please, just pick up. Blocked. Hi, Alan. Hi, everybody else. Welcome. So that image that I shared in the chat, it's actually part of a panorama of the glacier. So here is the full tall one anyways. So there you go. There is me getting ready to dive in the 𝖊𝖕𝖎𝖏. And no, I did not actually. So one of the coolest parts of this trip was getting to do that. And I'll let me open her up here. Let me open her up. It's an upwards panorama of me on the ice. Nobody cares, but I'll show you anyways because it was interesting. Here you go. Oh, it looks really tiny on the screen, but there I am. There is the Mendenhall Glacier. I'm standing on it. You can see it is quite big, quite vertical, and a good time. And I did indeed fall a couple times. I was very glad to have a guide. So here's the deal. I'm going somewhere with this, and what I didn't, oh no, the ice pussy has caught on in chat. Goodness gracious. I knew I would immediately regret saying that, but tell me it doesn't look like that. Frozen ladies. Absolutely. I'm sure some of us have run into some icy cold gashes in our time. Ooh, yikes. So that band, Zion, 𝖊𝖕𝖎𝖏, super awesome, epic metal. It kind of has like the heavier Nightwish-esque little tinges of kind of Viking chanting. And they specifically say that they come from the Alpine Might. So they have a new album coming out. That is going to be one of the lead-off tracks from it. Super excited. Oh, it's not a glacier. It's actually Jotun, and I just climbed her crotch. Well, so here's one of the cool things. This was a good kind of warm-up for me because I'm planning, when I go back to Iceland in October, I am planning to do a 3-hour hike up the glacier and then down into the glacier. And I was thinking I better get some practice somewhere where someone can save me, hence Alaska. Now, with that being said, I don't know about you guys, but we're talking a little bit about survival skills. Now, I have the basics because I live in British Columbia. Bears don't scare me. Yeah, I know how to use firearms. I can make a fire. I've been camping my whole life. Yada, yada, yada. Cold? Take it or leave it. If you have good gear, I can do cold. But Crim's gonna get up in that crevice. I'm sorry. We should probably just call it here. But so here's the deal. So I hired a guide. Now, I am in no way, shape, or form fit, if you've noticed. Kind of a schlumpy looking nerd girl. I'm not super fit. I'm not great at everything. I don't have the best gear. So my plan was I got to hire a guide. I need to hire a guide or else I'm going to die. I'm going to step on a piece of rotten ice. I'm going to fall in the glacier. I'm going to die. So I did that. Now here is the really cool thing. And I didn't know about this until I got chatting with my guide. It turns out that he is competing on the upcoming season of Alone. Have you guys ever watched this show? I don't know if you have, but some people love this kind of like torture porn. I don't know if you've ever watched this, but it became a whole thing. I think it's on the History Network. I don't know. But it's a show called Alone, and they pick up people who do think they're very good at the outdoors, and then they dump them somewhere super remote. One of the first seasons was actually here in BC on Vancouver Island, and subsequent seasons have been in Mongolia, Patagonia, more parts of BC, all over the place. This new girl's not listening except for porn? Porn? You did. But not the way that you're thinking. Not quite the same thing. But, so this show, it turns out there's a new season and it is going to be on the opposite coast of Canada in Labrador. You know what's in Labrador? Things like polar bears. things like polar bears and really shitty, cold, icy winters. And so I took this up on the glacier, and I feel really bad because it was actually supposed to be a picture of the glacier ice and, you know, the view of the lake in the background. And so I had somebody hold up a piece of the glacier ice to share. Well, the problem was, it turns out my guide is in the photo. So there he is. His name is Jacques. I'm sharing this for a reason. And those of you, let's bring this around onto the screen for a second. So it turns out, while I'm talking to this guy, that he's going to be competing on a show called Alone. So I looked this up, and they take you, and they just, out in the middle of nowhere, they dump you somewhere very cold, very shitty, with nothing. His name is Jacques. He was born in Quebec, but lives in Alaska. Go figure. Talks like a bro. They take you in the middle of nowhere. You get 10 items, no real food. You get some clothing. And then you stay out there for as long as you can. This sounds pretty like reality TV, right? Pretty standard. But I looked this up earlier, and I did not know. But one of the things about this show is that you don't know where anyone else is. You don't know who else is still in the competition. All you know, is that you need to survive. You need to win. And so I've pulled this up here because it's going to be starting soon. And I was looking at this photo, and I'm pretty sure that's him. He looks so chubby, so maybe he went really far. But so the premise for this show, if you go and look it up Alone, is that they dump you and you have to tap out. You have to decide when to quit. And you have no idea if anybody else has quit. You're all in separate places. You have no food. You have to hunt. You have to build your own shelter. You're completely alone, and you're alone the entire time. The cameras you set up yourself. You hang out with nobody around. They airlift you into an area, and you don't know who else is competing against you. You don't know, did they get eaten by a bear? You don't know if they've tapped out. So literally on this show, you guys, all of the other competitors have dropped out. And there have been people who just keep staying out there because they have to be sure they're the last one standing. Can you fucking imagine? You're wet, you're cold, you're literally starving, you're living off your fat stores, you've got a fish hook through your thumb, you have a pile of shit as tall as you are out back in your latrine. Everybody else quit on day 10, and it's like day 67, but you want to win, and you can't take the chance to quit. Oh my God, this is awful. So now I've got to watch it, because after talking to him, he's going to be competing on this new season. And it's very interesting to me because, you know, I'd like to think in an alternate universe I could do it. But I know in my heart I could not. It would never happen. How do I listen to my metal? Who's going to let me have a beer at 2:00? Who's going to bring me snacks? I have so many questions. My goodness. Do you think you could do a show like that? Maybe you have the guts, but not the skills. I don't know. Let me know. Would you do it? Is there enough money that you would let somebody airlift you into the wilderness? Would you drink your own pee? Isn't that a survival meme? Drink your own piss. Look, we're all going to die. Yeah, I know. Oh, I know. But I want to die after I climb the glacier, and then I come home and I put my tootsies in a warm bath and I eat chocolate and get smashed on bourbon from a distillery in Point Haynes. Is it wrong? It's not. So with that, speaking of Alone, speaking of me and everything else, Patient Zero, I want to bet $5 on him too. Here's the thing. I was looking at his picture in the history preview. It starts next week on May 26th, the first episode. He looks really chubby, but when he was on the glacier with me, he looked really skinny. Sounds like maybe he lived out in the woods or fucking, I don't know, maybe a polar bear chased him and he lost a bunch of weight. I don't know. My money's on Jacques. Just saying. I asked him how he did, and he literally stopped and looked around and was like, it hasn't aired yet. I can't tell you. I'm pretty sure there are NDAs out the wazoo on this. So I don't know any more than you guys do. But I could tell you, I would go on this show. I would look really cool for like 15 minutes. I'd build an awesome shelter. And then I would be like, I hate it here. I'm out. And that would be that. Everybody is already talking about drinking their pee in chat. It's great. It's not even a challenge. It's not even a meme. You guys aren't even surviving. Everybody's just pulling up a jug. Boy, oh boy, the internet is something. All right. So on this note, I have more black metal for you. And I don't just have black metal. I have Canadian black metal. And I don't just have Canadian black metal. I have Vancouver black metal. I have black metal from a couple of dudes who just are from here, where I'm from. Hey, Corbin! Where I am. And I love nepotism. I love Canadian metal nepotism. So I have played some tracks by these guys for you before. This is a it's not a brand new release. I'm a lying lie face. I'm sorry. I thought about playing a new release. They have one out. But I needed one that kind of fit with what we were talking about. And so I thought I would play you a track called Canadian Denim Mountain Attack. I'm not even joking. It's the name of the song. Get your tuxedo on, kids. Go in the woods. yes. Hell fucking yes. There you go. Canadian denim mountain attack. I mean, honestly, come on now. Lads of War, Marauder Pack, draped in northern mist, attack! Yeah, that's me, basically. So, hey, we've been talking about the fact that I ran off to Alaska, and we were talking about some of the mountain stuff that was going on, giant old ice pussy in the side of a glacier, climbing up a glacier, missing your faces, playing a bunch of black metal, talking about the beauty and majesty of receding ice formations. And talking a bit about the guide that I hired being on a show called Alone that is coming up next week, and I want to see how he does. It was good fun. And in the... these lyrics, they're true cult. I love any song that says rock and roll in it because you know those guys were just so fucking fired up. Think of how fired up you have to be to actually just say the words rock and roll. Like, oof. It's the biggest of oofs. It's amazing. I love it. Unholy smoke and sweet desire. Canadian boys on the hunt. Listen, that is, I'm not saying it's a joke song, but it is a bit of a joke song. If you couldn't guess with a name like Canadian Denim Mountain Attack. If that didn't tip you off. But so we were talking about all of these different survivalist shows and whatnot, and talking about, because wasn't it Les or whatever his name, the Survivor man, drink your own pee. It became an internet meme. I'm fairly certain, maybe, that Jacques didn't drink his own pee. I don't want to spread that rumor. What if he finds out later? I'm like, oh, he was a really nice guy. I didn't die in Alaska. Also, he probably drinks his own pee. I don't want to be that girl. So here's the deal. I could not believe the weather that I got on my Alaska trip. And I know part of it is because Angel's looking out for me 1,000%. I went up on the glacier on Tuesday. But so, thinking about different ways to die in Alaska and adventure scenarios, I ended up doing something else as well. Now, one of the coolest parts about these little places all the way up the coast of Alaska, where these towns are, is they are where there are natural ports, right? Where is a good place to pull a boat in, shelter from the storm, and create a little town. Now, obviously, way back in the day, in the 1800s or whatever, there was the gold rush up in Alaska and the Yukon in Canada. Now, to get to the Yukon, the easiest route was through Alaska. You'd go all the way up to Alaska and you'd stop in a little place called Skagway. And Skagway has, at this time, right now, about 1,000 people that live there. But way back in the day, Skagway was how you got to the Yukon, because there was gold in them thar hills. And the idea was you were going to go up there. You guys remember Cornelius in the claymation fucking Rudolph? The guy that's just gold. That's what I think of everybody at that time. Every prospector was made of clay and yelled gold. But God, everything is still talking about piss. I regret nothing and everything simultaneously. But here's the deal. I went up there, and this is where Alaska and the Yukon connect. It's where there's some incestuousness. Canada's just rubbing all up on Alaska. Like that. And so you can go from Skagway, Alaska, you can go up into the mountains and actually make your way to Canada. And that is what I did. So climbed a glacier, but also decided to bike down a mountain. Now, not the side of the mountain biking like you're used to, like cool hardcore people do, but the idea of basically alpine roads all the way down. So ended up, 4,000 feet up at the top of White Pass between Canada and the US, and technically in a chunk of the country that is no man's land. Up there, it was, negative something. By the time I got from the top all the way down to the bottom on my bike, it was, 15, 20 degrees warmer. It was wild. But the reason that I bring this up is, are you guys good at biking? Because something that I learned is if you're going to do something strenuous on a bike or dangerous or fast or downhill or in a mountain or in a place where there is no hospital, you should be good at biking. This may have been lost on me at first. I'm like, yeah, I can ride a bike. How hard can it be? Probably not as hard as going down the side of an actual rocky mountain. But it turns out that when you go down the side of a mountain on a mountain road, you go really fast. Like 20, 30, going on 40 miles an hour fast. Like really fast. And if you do not drive your bike, is it drive? If you do not keep your bike in control, you will literally, yes, ass over tea kettle is perfect. You will shoot off the mountain road down into the glaciers and the rocks, and you will be gone forever. I also had to bike through customs. So here's the deal. I want to paint you a picture. Have you ever seen a disaster happen on vacation? I know we talk about this a lot, but I expected it was going to be me that was going to die, but I didn't. Now, in this scenario, as metalheads, as cool people, as internet losers, and all of the things that we are, rules are dumb, right? Rules are dumb. We don't like rules. But let me paint a picture for you. Imagine starting out with a couple of other people who are all insane enough to get bikes and get driven up into the middle of the fuck off cold mountains, literally at the peak of the mountains with the snow behind you. And somebody puts you on a bike and is like, hey, go down here, don't die, right? Why isn't that a thing is a real question. You guys are going to find a lot of bikes with dildos attached to them. The more you look, the more you'll find. Just either embrace it and accept that or continue looking and traumatize yourself. But yes, exactly. Do what thou wilt. It's the whole of the law. So let me paint a picture for you. The guide, because again, I took a guide. The guide that was with us said, hey, there are a couple of rules. Number 1, don't take your hands off the handlebars, even though you'll look like a cool guy. If you do that, your bike will go off a mountain. Okay, all right. Hey, don't go side by side, because if you do that, you'll get hit by a truck, and then you'll go off the mountain. Okay, fair enough. Hey, don't take a selfie while going down a vertical hill at 40 miles per hour on a bike. So we start, and within about 14 seconds, the girl in front of me is doing all of these things. All of them. And I'm thinking to myself, oh, boy, this is going to go bad. And it turns out it went really, really bad. Have you guys ever seen in real life somebody bail off a bike at 30 miles an hour going downhill? What kind of mountain has trucks on it? One of the only mountain passes between the Yukon and Canada that trucks in supplies to a completely ocean-bound port that 1,000 people live there and once a week get supplies. Yeah, that kind. Have you ever, the guide sounds like a stick in the mud. I bet he wouldn't even let you wear a blindfold. Yeah, strangely enough, he did not. You did that at 9 years old. Damn, did she live. So here's the deal. I am not always very cautious about my own health, right? I'm like, I could definitely climb that tree. And if I fall and impale myself, oh well. I can definitely, do whatever. That's fine. But I'm watching this girl and I'm thinking, this is not going to be good. No. So Mr. D says, look, Ma, no hands, no feet, no teeth. You're not kidding. I don't know what happened, and I may never know. But one of the things is, to go 40 miles an hour, you are still holding the brakes. You are still controlling the bike, because if you let go, I don't know how fast you'll go. Probably too fast. But she must have shifted, and maybe she just squeezed both brakes. I've never in my life seen something so fucking gnarly. Imagine, like a stoppie, an endo where the front wheel locks up and you go like this. Well, that's fine. But It's not even a motorbike. It's just a bike. And she is directly in front of me, and I'm following at a safe distance because I don't want to die. And I watch in slow motion as this girl's bike immediately starts tumbling. And we are on a section of this road that is steep enough that a straightforward tumble is not on the road. It's just in the air. And I am watching this bike tumble, and I am watching her, not on the bike, also tumble. She hasn't even hit the pavement yet. And we are already rolling. And I'm not going to lie. In the time that I am trying to stop while not doing the same thing, to not run her over, because all I can think is if I hit her or I hit her bike, I'm going to die. Like, legit, I'm going to die. I watched her ragdoll and kind of bounce out into the middle of the road. Now, the people who were in front of her, they have no idea. They're still going at 40 miles an hour down the hill. The people behind us, I think there was 2 more people and a tail guide behind us, all come up, and I'm the first one there because I'm the one behind her, and I'm looking and I'm like, I'm going to roll over a dead body. This is awful. Oh my God. And I kind of go and I look at her, and she's fine. Like, fine-ish. Ish. Bunny hop the bitch. Yeah, no, that's not how this works, Cly. I can actually show you on Google Maps exactly where this was. But she's somehow landed exactly in like the yoga pose, child's pose, on her knees, her forehead to the ground, and her hands out in front of her. No, it was awful. But I kind of just roll her just enough to make sure that she's breathing, and she's okay. Unbelievable. And I'm looking at her jacket is all torn open. Her helmet has a crack right down it. The bike is fucked up. And she gets up and she's like, I'm fine. Let's just keep going. And we're like, you literally just caught a Christ air like you would not believe. I don't know that she truly remembered what was going on. But one of the scariest things I've ever seen in my life. So I'm not really going anywhere with this other than I was sharply reminded that we are tiny and breakable, and every now and again you have to be really careful. But the thing is she was not okay. Hi Kingski. The idea is she was not okay at all, and it turned out she had a concussion, and her shoulder was dislocated, and one of her legs was fucked up, and I'm pretty sure she broke some bones. Yeah, totally in shock. She got up, and like everything was just kind of, and she's like, let me get on the bike again, and we're like, I think you might be dead. Please just stop for a second. But so yeah, it turns out in Alaska, if you get seriously hurt, especially up in the mountains, you have to be picked up by a helicopter. Not a good way to end your vacation. Not a good way. Yikes. Okay, so I'll share some pictures with you guys where this happened. It was incredible, but it definitely made me almost shit my fucking pants. And I don't want to know what the bill for getting medically evacuated in a helicopter out of the fucking mountains costs. So on that note, let's... I have so many good tracks to play. Where shall we go next? I'm going to play you a track called Light the Torch by Soilwork. This is off an old album, figure number 5. It's like the early 2000s. I'm going to find you guys some images. I'm going to show you exactly where this happened because I'm pretty sure Google Maps has been up those roads. Highly recommended. Don't take a fucking selfie. Your life is not worth a fucking selfie. God damn, people. Yikes. Big yikes. Yikes.
roughly bound to your sins. I'll hunt you down in time to such feeble swine. How can I compromise when all you do is deny? Give me a sign and I do just what I'm thinking. Right away. Who can say I will forget? So suffer if start to regret. You will come around, cause you know that you'll be thinking, oh yeah, I feel so powerless, can't face my hollowness.
I'm too slow. You guys aren't going to know what's coming next. So I was trying to find some more photos, and then I realized I have one with another person that was in the group. I'm just going to blur out his face because maybe he'll find out later that he's, in a photo with me and he'll be all sad about it. I don't know. I wouldn't want to be seen with me either. Lord. All right, so where I'm going with this is basically where I started this bike ride was at the tippy top of the motherfucking mountain. I'm not joking. Right up just beside the Sawtooth Mountains in Alaska at the very, very top. And it's a good time. Yeah, there we go. So poor person is going to be like, I saw you on the internet. You were that bitch that yeeted another bitch off the mountain. For the record, for those of you who are spreading filthy lies, I did not throw this woman off her bike. She threw herself off the bike. She bounced like 6 times and then she got a cool helicopter ride. I'm pretty sure she paid for it though. Not a helicopter ride I would want. But so literally at the top of the mountain. No, it's another person that was on the tour, and I don't want to be like, here you go. I'm just going to share your face with the world. Enjoy, person. There were actually quite a few people on the bike tour. Essentially, Skagway, there's a couple things to do. One, she yeeted herself. I don't know how she did it. She was like 40 feet ahead of me, and thank God she was, because if she wasn't, I would have hit her with my bike, and then I'd be dead, and you'd be sad. So, but that's where we started, and I showed you the top. About halfway down, it was starting to get real hot. Real hot, and you'll see the change in altitude was wild, absolutely wild. From where we started to even halfway down, the change in elevation was crazy. So Skagway, starts up. Oh, right. For people who are watching the stream, Skagway starts way the fuck up in the mountains. It's a whole thing. There it is. The mountain view. You can see as far as the eye can see. But in this spot where this picture was taken, it is not Canada and it's not the US. Now, I had to, yes, exactly. She shoved the own stick in her own wheel. It wasn't me. So by halfway down, you could see the Sawtooth Mountains in the background. You can see all of the different, trees and stuff, and the snow is starting to go away, and it's absolutely delightful, and I'm already starting to get too hot. Well, then we go through the Canadian border, and I'm gonna play another track for you, and we're gonna listen to it, and it's gonna be amazing. But I'm going to tell you the joke that I don't even know. Clay's going to get some coffee and eat some edibles. I feel like I should save the joke. But as we were going through customs, I thought for real we'd be arrested for war crimes, because the guide, as we were going, because you have to bike through one at a time, you have to yell out your name, you had to pre-hand them. Somebody had to bike down first, hand them a list of names, passport numbers to go through the states. And we're all doing the thing. We have to go through the nuclear detectors. Why they've got one up in the fuck off Yukon, I don't know. And as we go through no man's land customs, I hear the guide say, why should you never change gears as you go through the guard here? And I'm like, oh no, don't do it. Don't say it. And he looks right at the customs guy and says, because you don't want to look shifty. Oh my God. I wanted to yeet myself. I wanted to just go straight off the side of the mountain. And the border guard's face did not move, did not crack. Absolutely terrible. I thought, that's it. We're all going to jail. Also, I'm just going to throw myself off a cliff. It's fine. Why do you not change gears going through customs? Because you don't want to look shifty. Oh! It's the worst. Absolute worst. The fact that I'm still here to tell the tale. You brought Marky. Yeah, right? Felt like it. I was thinking to myself, I paid you. I paid you for this bike. I'm gonna get off and live in the mountains forever. Yes, nuclear detectors. I will show you what those look like. But let's play another track. Now, if you noticed on the screen, I do have an amazing, yeah, that joke probably would have hit the spot just right. If all of you, every single one of you, all of you down here and all of you out there and everybody in here, if you were all high out of your minds, that joke would have slayed. But no, it wouldn't have. It was awful. Maybe it was from watching somebody literally rip her bones out of her sockets seconds earlier. Or maybe it was because it's a terrible fucking joke. But it's my gift to you. If you're ever biking through customs, now you know. You've got it. It's a very specific niche. But someday you're going to pull that one out of your back pocket and be like, thanks, Crimsonclad. Bing. Yeah. You know what? Let's do the Devin Townsend. I told you slightly ocean and boat related, right? Well, there was an amazing time when the Devin Townsend Project performed live a beautiful, beautiful collection of songs called The Ocean Machine. It is one of the most mind-bending, mind-blasting prog live performances going. And if you've ever seen it live, you will know what I'm talking about. But it's not something you can find very easily. However, I'm going to play you a live version of a track called Seventh Wave. And the entire part of this song that resonates with me so much is that when you finally do get out on the open ocean, when you finally do get out on a boat and there is nothing but water all around you, something magical happens and the world starts moving differently and you start perceiving the horizon differently. And you keep hearing these words that the ocean will rise up to meet you. And it's the truth. And it's amazing. Is it even a vacation if you don't kill someone? Well, I have a lot that I could go with on there, and I was going to make a joke, but then I realized not a good time. So, however you spend your vacation, whether or not you like the ocean, you will like The Ocean Machine, a track called Seventh Wave by the Devin Townsend Project. This is some massive meditation vibes. My friends, we are about halfway through. We got time yet. I got more time. Let's play more metal. Let's talk more shit. Alaska, I'm back. I'm tired. My dog pooped. The music is loud. You're caught up. Ta-da!
O earth, what changes hast thou seen? There where the long street roars hath been the stillness of the central sea. The hills are shadows, and they flow from form to form, and nothing stands like clouds that shape themselves and go.
because this is live, it just doesn't stop. So we'll cut that off. A beautiful track. If you've never listened to Devin Townsend Project, to The Ocean Machine in entirety, I highly recommend it. Now, obviously, Devin Townsend does all sorts of stuff. Strapping young lad, acoustic music by himself. The Devin Townsend Project with this crazy, spiritual, progressive music. It's amazing. It's amazing. But that track especially, it's one that kind of comes back to me every time I take a boat and I go somewhere. You're never alone, even when you're alone. Watch the seventh wave, running away, running into the weather with only thoughts of finding home. Running away, running forever. And I realize I'm on my own. I'm on my way. Pass it on. I'll wait for the ocean to rise up and meet me as it rose up before. I'll wait for the ocean to rise up. I'll know the time and greet me as it rose up before. We're never alone, even when you're alone. We're never alone. Watch the ocean. Fucking beautiful. But more than that, it kind of fits into the fact that I took a boat to get to Alaska. And I've been telling you guys about some of the cool stuff that I did because, hell, you got to have a story to tell. And it is always entertaining when you could tell, everybody that you yeeted a woman off the mountain. Even though I didn't yeet her, she yeeted herself. But to watch somebody yeet through the air. Now, here's the deal. I told you guys I was going to show you exactly where this is. I can do that through the magic of the Google machine. So here's the deal. I showed you guys starting up at the top of the mountain, and then I showed you where I ended up and all of the rest. Well, here's the deal. Let me show you this bike trip, because I think some of you don't realize how fucking far it was. And it's right at the peak. Yeah, sure, Crim, sure. All right, let's talk about this. You will see over on the overlay, you will see the Google Maps. The Google Maps. Here's Skagway. This is Skagway from the air. It's a part of Alaska you can only get to by boat. Let me zoom out to show you where this is. Let me zoom way out. There it is. There is Skagway. Here's BC. And as you zoom in, you realize you got to come all the way up the coast here. You got to come in between all of the mountains, and you got to come in all of these straits, and you got to go further. We got to go deeper. We got to go further and deeper. And you realize, holy shit. Yeah, you got to keep going. You got to keep going. You got to keep going. And for those of you who are just listening, it's going to be a lot of keep going. And you realize Skagway, you can get to by boat, by ferry, by barge. And that's how I got there. Now let me show you. We're going to follow the route, the road towards Canada that I took on the bikes. If you're watching, I'll share it with you if you're not watching. You got to leave out of town. You got to head up the Klondike Highway. You got to keep going. You got to keep going. Here is the U.S. Customs. You got to keep going. Got to keep going. Got to keep going yet. Yeah, see how there's nothing but mountains? Absolutely nothing? Yeah, you got to keep going. And in fact, we're going to continue up until you literally hit almost the Canadian-United States border. Now, here's how I know is I dropped myself on this little pullout on the road at the peak here, just to double check. I'm pretty sure that's where we started from. So I dropped myself the Google Maps and I thought, oh yeah, here we are. That looks pretty good. And as we turn it, oh shit, look, there's a bunch of nerds on bicycles. So, hi, MSP _Rondon. There you go. That is where I started. Although this one is in the summer. You could see the difference in the snow. Lord almighty. Is there a way that I could change this to winter? Can you see, is there like other pictures? Is there a way to see it in the winter? But so here you are, the peak of White Pass. From here, it starts going down again. Notice the trucks that are on this road. And then here is you on your bike, hoping not to die. There it is. So I'm just giving you an idea of where you start. Way the fuck up here. So let me zoom out one more time before we continue. Let me show you where that is. I biked from right up here to all the way down here, the whole fucking way, and I didn't die. I just want you to realize that. I biked this. right. Why am I so red? Am I so red? I can't tell. I don't know. Why am I so red? I'm not sure. Do I look red? You guys will have to tell me. Anyways, doesn't matter. There you go. Now you've seen it. Now you know. But Kitty Girl was mentioning nuclear detectors. And the answer is, yeah, the US-Canadian border, every time you go through it, there is a nuclear detector. Why? I don't know. Somebody hanging on to pocket nukes? Maybe. Let's find the customs here. Let's drop ourselves into customs. Here you are, U.S. Customs and Border Protection. You know why they put it here, this little tiny building? Is because nobody wanted to be up in the mountains and get out and go through customs. So there's literally, all of this is no man's land. We don't call it Canada, we don't call it the U.S. But if we zoom right in, you will see, here is customs. Can we drop ourselves on the road at customs? You can't. Do they not want you to look? Is there something secret? But here you go. When you zoom in, you see these big yellow things? Those are at every border. I have no idea if you have a border, a country border where you live near something else, but every border in Canada and the US, everywhere we touch, where we rub up against each other, those big yellow things, they're there. And they are nuclear detectors. Go fish. Why do we have them? I don't know. Tactical pocket nuke? I guess, maybe. But so there you go. Now you've seen what's up there in the middle of nowhere in Skagway, Alaska. It's a hell of a bike ride, I'll tell you what, kids. Now, I'm trying to figure out where that lady bailed, and I'll try and find it, but I don't know. It was pretty scenic, highly recommended. If you've never gone, yeah, borders aren't real, I know. They're made up lines controlled by daddy government, and you have to have a fancy piece of paper to let you go over an imaginary boundary. It's very silly, don't get me wrong. But nonetheless. So what do you guys think? I want to play some more music for you. I've still got an hour left in this show. We've talked about a bunch of different stuff, and I've shared a bunch of my adventures with you. Maybe you think this is fun. Yeah, suitcase nukes. Maybe you think this is stupid. You're allowed to have the opinion of, thank you. Can I admit?
Glad they didn't find your nukes.
Ron. Jesus. There you go. I was going to say, I don't actually know what to do with tea fuel donations, but that was delightful. I'm also glad they didn't find my nukes. If you keep your nukes locked down, then nobody can get them. Also, I had to tuck my shirt in because it's a men's shirt. You can't get like a classic Emperor shirt anymore. You can get them at Hot Topic, the new ones. I want the old one. So it's really big. It's like a tent on me. Goodness gracious. All right. Should we continue on? The first rule of suitcase nukes is don't talk about your suitcase nukes, especially on platforms like Twitch, which will ban you for saying the word nuke. Let's get a little louder again. We're kind of coming into the portion of the show where I picked out a bunch of songs about sailing, being on a boat. Have you ever spent much time on a boat? I'm not necessarily talking about, the rowboat or, the pleasure craft or the yacht. Although if you're a yachty, if you got some yacht experience, good for you. I'm talking about like transit boats. I don't know if this is, hi, Heilig. I don't know if this is a thing that you do very often or if you've ever done. I don't know. Tell me about it. But a lot of the music on tonight's playlist is inspired by being on a boat, because here's the thing. If you go up to Alaska by boat, it is a long way. It's cold, it's dark, it's black. And one of the most incredible things about traveling towards Alaska, especially in the winter seasons with early dark nights and things like that, is that there is no blacker black than the sea. It's very fucking metal when you think about it. So I'm going to play you something with a bit more oomph to it. Fuck water in general. Disagree. I'm going to play you a track called No Man Isle by a group called Haunted by Silhouettes. Now, this is a brand new release. I want you guys to listen to this. We're going to kick things up a little bit before we move into some more boat and ocean related music before the end of the show. My name is Crimsonclad. We've been talking about my Alaska adventures, and I mostly just want to share them with you because, hell, I miss you guys when I'm not with you. But I'm realizing that this whole show is going to start sounding like a flex. and that's gross. So I'll play music, and then we'll come back, and we'll talk about other things. Yes? Yes. Kitty girl, the Northern Lights are neat. And the first time I ever saw them was in Alaska. And the most interesting thing, and I think I've shared it with you guys before, is the Northern Lights make a sound. I didn't know that until I heard it. It's not a nice sound. It's not fucking twinkling or whatever. It's a hiss. It's an electricity in the air. It's fucking weird. It's Full Force Radio. See? Boats! Yeah, boats.
You live in order to return one day to the shore, to the core.
I've done my
There you go. Haunted by Silhouettes. Fabulous kind of like, I don't know, melodic, brutal, extreme metal from Trondheim, Norway. So we are having a good time. Yeah, I saw that one, Clay. I haven't talked a little bit about some of the stuff that I did in Alaska, which was really cool, and I love sharing it with you guys. And I am hoping, fingers crossed, that I will be able to write some posts about it and get back to sort of sharing travel and photography and stuff like that. But it was a welcome, much needed break from a lot going on in my life, and so be it. But very nautical track. Some of the stuff that I pulled for tonight is metal about being on a boat, because hell, if you want to go to Alaska and you want to watch some bitch yeet herself off a mountain through customs downhill and then get medevac evacuated out of the country, take a boat up to Alaska. So we talked about climbing glaciers. We talked about going on shows like Alone and whether or not you have the survival chops, drink your own piss, whether it's a meme or not. And you know, just recently there we were saying the Northern Lights do indeed have a sound. Now, Cly is saying, well, that's because the Northern Lights aren't real and it's actually just weather. It's just weather manipulation by the CIA. But here's the deal. Let's not spread the rumor that I killed someone in Alaska. Thanks. She's alive. Also not my fault. Just throwing that out there. But also, I want to talk about how cool this album artwork is. Just before anything else, like, look at this. Haunted by Silhouettes. No Man Isle. How do you spell Isle? No Man Isle. So if we pull that bad boy up and we get the images, let's just talk about how freaking cool this cover is. Because it's cool, bros. It's cool. Let's grab it. Son of a biscuit. Here you go. And pull it up and put it on the screen because we have to. Check it out. Look at this chick. She's got, I don't know, she's dressed in a seal skin and she's wearing an octopus and she's got a broken bottle to shank you with and she's standing on a rock like a sexy mermaid. She's going to sing to you. You're going to come to that rock and she's going to slit your throat with a broken bottle. That's cool. I'm into that. That's heckin' metal. And the track was excellent also. So if you are a melodic metal person, you like a little more tunes in your... Yeah, I used harp to cover it up. Like a little more tunes. Here's the deal. But so just before the break there, before all the rest of this happened, sheesh, draw me like one of your betentacled sealskin shank-carrying Alaskan girls. Yeah, I was going to say most of you guys probably dated that sea hag at some point in time. The Northern Lights do actually make a sound. Now, I'm not going to pretend that I know why. It's something to do with magnets, but they hiss. They crackle and they hiss. And they remind me of that sound of like when your brain cells are dying when you stand under like power lines. Have you ever stood under power lines in the rain? When it's raining, the rain will hit power lines and it hisses and it crackles and it pops, right? The electricity. There's something about it. Probably because it's hot. Something, steaminess. I don't know. Listen, don't ask questions. I don't do science. I climb rocks. But it does that. It makes this noises. Something to do with magnets. Fucking magnets. How do they work? So now everybody in chat is drinking their own piss and debating whether or not God caused rainbows and magnets. Probably both. But where I was going with all of this is when you take a boat and none of you guys really answered. Have you ever sort of taken a boat to travel on before? Not like I'm going to go out on my bud's boat for a day. I'm going to hang out fishing. Like actually day and night travel from point A to point B over the course of a couple days on open ocean. I'm not a sailor, but I have done it a couple times now, especially going up to Alaska. The blackest blacks you will ever see in your life is when you get away from land and there is no more light pollution. It is the craziest thing I've ever seen. Absolutely amazing. And absolutely terrifying. It is the closest thing that you can get. Maybe a sensory deprivation tank would be that, but yeah, blacker than black. Like 2 minutes past midnight. Not even 2 minutes to midnight, 2 minutes past midnight black. But it is amazing because you don't, especially if it's a cloudy night, you don't see stars. You don't see lights on the horizon. You don't see the horizon at all. In fact, you see absolutely nothing. The boat that you are on, especially when the water is still, is floating in a perfect sphere of darkness. And when you walk to the edge of the boat and you look down and you expect to see something, when you look ahead of you for the horizon, for a landmark, for something, for anything, when you look above you for that familiar set of stars that you've seen your whole life, and all of those things are gone, and you can't tell. When you close your eyes and you open them, there's no change at all, other than the fact that you can see that you are standing on the deck. It is a mind fuck. So I don't know if any of you guys have done that before. Highly recommend to-do list tonight. Not have your dog poop in your house. Not yeet yourself off a mountain and break a bunch of bones and get evacuated. But on your to-do list, think about going to Alaska. I'm biased. I've done it many times and I like it. And take a trip on the open ocean. It's terrifying. It's awesome. It's horrible. It's super metal. Highly recommended. Let us continue. Now, it's quite funny because we were talking about, magnets and the juggalos and all of that nonsense that goes along with it. Fucking magnets. That bottle in her hand is because she's drunk. That's true. We're still talking about that artwork. Clyde earlier was saying, is it really a vacation if you haven't killed someone? A, yes, it is. B, is it really a vacation if you haven't fallen off a boat, killed an otter, made it into a hat, wrapped an octopus around your waist, smashed your whiskey bottle, and swam back to land to threaten the first person you meet? I mean, maybe not. Yes, seeing that is the best way of understanding Nordic music. Agreed. Especially bands like this, where, Land of the Midnight Sun in the summer, where the sun is up all year round. But in the winter, the opposite is true. There is nothing. It is cold. It is black. It is depressing. It is dark. It is a feeling down in your guts. The ocean can bring that to you. The ocean is terrifying, way more than a mountain. 1000% agreed, LK. If you fell off a boat at night with no lights and the waves are just choppy enough that there are little splashes, no one would know. You would be fucking gone, bro. Disappeared. Abducted by aliens, may as well be. All right, so in the time that we've been discussing all this and we've been talking about mountains and all the other thing, I think Clyde said something about rainbows being gay thoughts caused by Satan. That seems like a good segue for another track here. And I see the Patient Zero's dropped something called Vanta Black in chat. I think we've talked about this on the show before. There is a paint. There is a paint color. There is a shade. There is a color called Vanta Black. And Vanta Black is so black that it does not reflect any light at all. And one of the most entertaining things that has ever kind of happened in the history of ever is the guy that invented Vanta Black, the shade, the paint, whatever. He's a fucking dick. Hi, Gabriel. He's a fucking dick. And he charges an absurd amount for it. And he's in a big fight with a bunch of other people who wanted to make this available to everyone. And so instead, if you're ever wanting to try and paint something in Vanta Black, in the blackest, darkest paint, forget Vanta Black. I will give you the link, and we've talked about this before, and maybe I've shared it with you guys before, but just in case you haven't, I want to share with you something called Black 3.0. You brought it up, so I'm going to share it with you. I'm going to share it with you. It's called Black 3.0. And you can get it at a place called Culture Hustle. It is not actually all that expensive if you want to make something so black that it will not in any way, shape, or form reflect light. So let me grab it for you here. The world's blackest acrylic paint. There you go. There are some really cool things that go along with this. But apparently the guy that made it, his name is, made the original Phantom Black. His name is Anish Kapoor, and he's an asshole. And so the guy that made Black 3.0, specifically on the website, when you go through, you'll see the regular cookie notification. But down at the bottom it says, like all websites these days, this one uses cookies to ensure you get the best experience, including personalized advertising. Please tell us that you're okay with that and confirm that you are not Anish Kapoor. And you click a button that says, I am not Anish Kapoor and I'm happy with cookies. And when you buy this, there's a note. By adding this product to your cart, you confirm that you are not Anish Kapoor. You're in no way affiliated to Anish Kapoor. You're not purchasing this item on behalf of Anish Kapoor or an associate of Anish Kapoor. To the best of your knowledge, information, or belief, this material will not make its way into the hands of Anish Kapoor. So it turns out some man named Anish Kapoor invented Phantom Black paint, was an absolute dick about it, made everyone else in the world hate him, and now a bunch of artists have something called Black 3.0. Buy it. Paint something in Black 3.0. It'll be almost as black as the ocean on a moonless night. Okay, so let's try and regroup here since we're in the blackest of blacks. Since we were talking about gay thoughts coming from Satan, I thought this would be a great time to play some jangly 70s inspired music, some good fun rock and roll, a little break from the black metal, because it's been black metal start to finish tonight. Lots of black metal, starting with Emperor and just pounding through bands. And ice vaginas. So I'm going to play you something brand new, Church of the Cosmic Skull. And they are ridiculous. Completely ridiculous. And the idea is they are this sort of cheesy 1970s Manson family knockoff ABBA combination kind of band. And essentially, it's kind of like Baby's first tongue-in-cheek Satanism. It's weird. It's fun. It's a whole kind of aesthetic shtick. But they just released a new track, and I thought I'd share it with you guys. Not because I'm trying to convert you. Do as you will. But their music is a lot of fun. And the 70s vibe, that sort of retro vibe, cool jangly guitars, very psychedelic. And especially since at the beginning of the show, we were talking about life is really short. And we are, by and large, incredibly meaningless. And at the same time, you can do incredible things with your life, and there is absolutely nothing stopping you. So do whatever you want. Have a lot of fun. But I'm going to play you a track off of a new album. The new album is called There Is No Time. And it's a reminder, man. It's a reminder. There is no time. You are on this earth for but a moment. Just a moment. Do something cool with it. Climb a glacier. Wake up early. Watch the sunrise and have a cup of coffee. Yeet yourself off a mountain. Change gears on your bike while going through customs. Do whatever it is you want to do. But the album is called There Is No Time. The song is called Now's the Time. My name is Crimsonclad. We've still got a little bit of time left in Full Force Radio. Whatever you're inspired to do, get out there and do it, man.
Love from the catharsis, rose flowers, sleep tonight.
All right, there you go. Brand new Church of the Cosmic Skull. It's a little bit funky. It's a little bit rock and roll. It's a little bit psychedelic. Where is Poopers? Well, he pooped on my floor and he's not feeling well. So I'm not bringing him into my office where his stink could permeate me. Poor guy's got an upset tummy. It's what happens when I go away and somebody else takes care of him and feeds him improperly for an entire week. You had one job. If you weren't here at the start of the night, we were discussing how turns out when you go on a boat up to Alaska and you plan to climb a glacier and bike down a mountain and all the other dumb shit that I did, you can't take your dogs. I mean, I guess I could, but you can't in this case. I couldn't. So dogs went to stay with family. 1 cup. 1 box of food. You take the cup, you take 1 cup of food, you put it in 1 bowl, you put it in front of 1 dog 2 times a day. That's it. Just twice. 2 cups per dog. Well, it turns out that they just decided, that he was so sad. He looks so hungry. Oh, that's not enough food. So that dog, anyways. His tummy is a little upset. And I got home and I opened the door and I expected a wave of love and I got a wave of love and a wave of stink. Yes, he gets fed once in the morning, once at night. It's very simple. It's very, very simple. It's not much. It's not much. Hi, Serbian wizard. Are you a wizard? Are you from Serbia? A wizard arrives precisely when he means to. So there you go. I'm not starving my dogs. My dogs are incredibly healthy, but at current, we are having some tummy troubles. And I opened my door when I got home and I was hit with a wave of butt stink. So, in the interest of the best possible show, the dogs are not invited in the room tonight. So, the Church of the Cosmic Skull, there you go, a little bit of a break. It is kind of fun. It's very Clay-esque stuff. Very inspired by, like, David Bowie and sort of a bunch of these very questioning, boundary-pushing musicians that kind of, muddled their way through the 70s. But one of the things about the Church of the Cosmic Skull and the idea behind it was, well, we're going to create a band that is also a cult. We are going to create an entire sort of projected influence. We're gonna fake it till we make it. We are going to become this sort of Manson family style band, and we're going to talk about the 7 objects. And if you embrace the 7 objects, you can be a member of the Church of the Cosmic Skull. And the 7 objects are as such: recognize the hallucinatory nature of reality, investigate all aspects of the reality hallucination, receive all phenomena with equanimity, celebrate and uphold the freedom of art, science, and thought, meet mistakes with forgiveness and determination, do what you want with love in your heart, and maintain focus on the unity of all living beings. Now, whatever it is, hi, Nahu! We played a bunch of black metal and I summoned you. But yes, psychedelic stoner metal is fantastic. I can recommend a lot of it. I play a lot of it on this show. That's a good, fun little thing. But it is, if you're not familiar, those are basically sort of the overarching tenets of Satanism repackaged in a slightly different way to be a little bit more cosmic. 1000% a cult, but a great band. A lot of fun. So, let's do it. I've got lots more stuff to play for you guys tonight. And of course, we are getting to the last half hour of the show. So we will kind of pick and choose as we go. And we will decide what we can fit and what we can't fit. So I do have a lot more black metal. I do have some lower, slower stuff. And I have some sad tracks that I'm trying to decide whether or not I'm going to play, because so the flip side of it, and we're not going to dwell on this or whatever, but one of the things that I knew was going to happen when I left for Alaska is I knew that I would be seeing my grandpa for the last time. And that sucked, to be quite honest. And one of the most amazing things about my Alaska trip, and whatever you believe in and whomever you believe in and however you perceive this earth and your time on it. My day on the glacier, I know for a fact I wouldn't have gotten that sun without Grandpa Just saying bye on the way out. So for me, this week has been, a lot of black metal, a lot of dark stuff, a lot of sad stuff. And trying to kind of pick and choose stuff that would be a great show for you guys, that would fit in to a wider overarching theme, and to kind of lift myself a little bit. So, it is what it is. So I'm trying to think of what I want to play. I was thinking of playing some more Woods of Ypres, at least one more song tonight for my grandpa. We'll see if we can do that without it getting too sad and too uncomfortable. So in between then and there, given that we were talking about baby's first Satanism, and we all know that all across the metal sphere that we kind of come back and we always reference the devil and the devil's music, well, heck, I have another track. So I want to play something, well, we played some already. Corbin, if you were here already, you would have heard it. But I'm glad you showed up. Let me prepare myself to talk about that stuff. But so let's just continue in this, because there is a new release, a band that I love, and you might remember. I played a great track. I'll send you the link in just a second in DMs. You might remember that when you were climbing walls. Look at you getting out and being active and doing stuff. I did not climb a wall. I climbed a glacier and I cheated. Way back when, I did a show inspired by David Lynch, and I put together an entire show with tracks inspired by how fucking weird David Lynch is. And if you remember, we went way into all of the back catalog, so we found a bunch of metal songs and music that was inspired especially by a show called Twin Peaks. Maybe you remember, maybe you don't. But there is a character in Twin Peaks named Audrey Horne, and I played you a band named after this character, and they just released a new track. And it felt very fitting, because the track is about being tempted by the devil, and the cover of the album is a lighthouse in a dark sea in a storm. It feels like I have to play it for you guys. Plus, it's a little bit more jazzy and upbeat. So before we kind of... Heilig just literally talked about inserting the Twin Peaks intro song, and I heard it in my head. The second you said that, I heard it in my head, that sort of like low piano, slow piano. If you never actually watched Twin Peaks, you should. It's a mind fuck and a half. What's going on? Who knows? It's all good. But so here's the deal. Let me play you this. I'm going to play you a brand new track called Devil's Bell by Audrey Horne, and then we will play some sad Woods of Ypres for my grandpa, and then we will decide what we can fit into the show before we run out of time. Yes? Yes? Yes. you go. Man, it's sick. I really like Audrey Horne. It's a little more upbeat. It's not really heavy metal, but it's so fun. It's somewhere between rock and roll and metal. And honestly, everything they do is just up in your face and good dancey times. So yeah, everybody's heathening it up in the audience, and good for you. This is a place, this is a safe space for you to express your heathen ways. But tonight we've been talking about all sorts of stuff. I've been sharing with you some Alaskan adventures. I did not kill a woman by throwing her off a mountain. She threw herself off a bike off a mountain. Okay. But so I climbed ice climbed a glacier. I biked across the Canadian-US border through White Pass down a 4,000-foot mountain, and I had a great time, and it was a lot of fun. And so we've been talking about all sorts of stuff. I've been sharing some photos, and we've been talking about black metal, and overall it's been a delightful show. We got about half an hour left, and a lot of the music up to this point has been really heavy. That was probably one of the lighter tracks of the night. Now, I've got a pile of stuff as per usual, and I'm not going to be able to get throw all of it. Clay says, low-key hoping that I'm going to throw him off a mountain on like 5 grams of shroom. If you want, I will make sure that I have lots of shrooms when you arrive in Minecraft. Although, to be quite fair, they're completely legal here. So you get them in the mail, we'll do a bunch of shrooms, I'll take you up a mountain, it'll be great. It will not be a mountain in Alaska, you won't freeze, I will not let you touch a bear. High five, good times had by all. So, one of the things that I was mentioning, and not to be a downer, is that unfortunately, very kind of quickly and unexpectedly before I left, my grandpa was not doing well, and I ended up kind of having to make the decision to go on this trip knowing that he would not be around when I came back. And that is unfortunately exactly what happened. And so I've been bandying about whether or not I was going to go to Singapore and do a talk at a conference for 𝖊𝖕. And I will not be doing it now, because if I do, I will have to be in quarantine and will not get to go to his funeral. So I'm in this weird place where I want to have a lot of fun with you. I'm coming off a great vacation. Everything has been amazing. But also, of course, in this life, there are hard things too. And, all of you have lost older family members, and it is the way of things, right? When we talk about how things should happen and how small and insignificant we are and how short life is, I like to think how blessed I am, because he was 97 and he still had all his own fucking teeth, and he lived a fast life and left just as fast, and it sucks. And I was really sad that I was away, but you can't do anything about it. And Tuesday, when I was thinking about it and being my saddest, I got out on the Mendenhall Glacier, and in the morning when I left Juneau, it was thank you, thanks for the follow. When I left Juneau, it was overcast and it was crappy. And by the time I got to the glacier, it was sunny and beautiful. And I know for a fact the rest of my trip was absolutely amazing. The weather was good and it went well. Just 'cause. So I do want to play at least one track. And, honestly, Cly, I shared it on Twitter and nobody cares. But last year at 96, we finally got to see each other after COVID for the longest time. And we were sitting, drinking wine together. He was wearing his suit. We were talking about Bitcoin at 96. Man, my jeans. Pray that my jeans are that good. What a fucking man my grandpa was. Anyways, so I do want to play a track. I do want to play a beautiful, depressing track. I just don't want to play it right here. I'm going to kind of push it towards the end of the show, because I do want to play you. That's something that metal does so well, emotional, evocative music that makes you feel happy and sad and alive. And I got them tight jeans. I'm wearing them right now. But in between, we'll do some more mountain and ocean music, and I'll save some stuff for you. So I'm going to play something by a band called 𝖊𝖕𝖎𝖆. Since we're talking about that mountain music and we're talking about all that good stuff, this is off the newest 𝖊𝖕𝖎𝖆 album from 2021. It is amazing. It is actually tight jeans and thick cake. Accurate. So accurate. We big girls. Big girls. Like I said, gotta wear that belt and suck it all in. One of my favorite albums of 2021. So I want to play something off this, and I've played quite a few tracks off it, but I want to play you a song called Indelible, and it's somewhere between Melodic Death and everything else, and it is a beautiful track. It's a little bit harder again, but it's not fully descending into the depths of cold black Nordic metal. Little bit of both. Why not both? Apparently, chat says my dick is huge. You know what? Yeah, why not? I'm going to play a track called Indelible. My name is Crimsonclad, Fullforce Radio. We're playing rock and roll and heavy metal and talking shit and throwing bitches off mountains. Jesus. Stop spreading rumors, you bastards. See? Got more wind. Give it a second. Nothing like a very brooding, looming, dark instrumental break. There you go. It's an absolutely awesome album. Lacey's been summoned. There are more people. Scaredy Cat Guide's here. Jesus, Murphy Jones, son. How you doing? It's been a while. More of you are jumping in. I see you all over the place. Wherever it is you're hanging out. I also am going to totally drop a selfie with my shirt on that other guy's tweet. So, you know, if you were... If you're around yesterday, wish Scaredy Cat Guide a happy birthday. I've already made his life miserable by telling everybody, but let's do it again. Why not? Technically, it could... No, it's a whole next day. All right, well, you can have a birthday week, right? So, yeah, I want to come towards the end of the show without making everybody miserable and without bringing everybody down. But, yeah, so it's been a whole time. You know... They were good. It was the best of times. It was the worst of times. It was a good trip for me to clear my head. I got a lot of adventure in. There was also a lot of sadness. And yeah, so I'm in a weird space. And I'm hoping to be traveling to some more conferences to do... Did I get thrown around by a child? Did he do a barrel roll? But yes, Lacey was there. I tried to bully her into the mosh pit. I did indeed send her a text that said, if we die, we die. She did not die. She's here. I have now proven twice that I have not murdered. I did not murder Lacey in a mosh pit, and I did not murder a woman biking down an Alaskan mountain. She did that to herself. She's also probably okay. Aw, Time Stands Still. I love that song. Aw. What a good choice. I don't actually have any more Rush on the playlist tonight, and I got to be careful with our time frame because, again, there are some tracks we are going to be cutting. I wanted to play a track by Isis off an album called 𝖊𝖕𝖎𝖘, which is all about beautiful, crazy black metal about the ocean. I wanted to play a 𝕊𝖕𝖎𝖘𝔃 track. I was thinking of playing something by Lunar Shadow called And Silence Screamed. And I wanted to play some Alcest. All of that is getting shunted, punted, moved into a new week. So here's what we're going to do. We always end the show with Iron Maiden. But tonight we are going to do a sad take. A sad, devilish take on Iron Maiden. A great cover of a classic. And I am going to play a song that will make everybody cry. I don't care. Fuck you. It's my show. So I'm going to play you a track by 𝖊𝖕𝖎𝖆, like I said, Canadian black metal band, but this is not really a black metal song. It is a song that is about loss and grief and sort of the finality of death and, you know, etc., so forth, so on. And, you know, sometimes it's nice to be sad. And then you express that emotion, you feel it, you live in it, you experience it, and you remember, God damn it, life is great, and you move on. So we're going to do that. Life is just pain and piss. Yes, as you know, as much as I love the track Wet Leather, I am not going to play a track about peeing, especially after how chat got about talking about drinking their own piss earlier. I am not going to play a song for my dead grandfather that is talking about piss. We're going to pass. It is finality, Corbin. So, I'm going to play you a track called Finality, because remember, we are tiny motes of dust dancing around the universe, and think about the absolute glorious fact that all of you exist here, all with me at this exact time. Look at the world and time we live in. It's great. It's a good thing. And then, yeah, we'll get it done. So, all right, Corbin knows where we're going. The rest of you, let's have a heart-to-heart moment, and then we'll bounce back and we'll up the irons before the end of the show. Yes, yes, this is a sad song. I'm sorry, but I love it, and it's my show. Ha-ha!
When we all have gone, forever. I wait.
So there you go. Yeah, Rip David Gold, incredible songwriter, super awesome musician, taken way too soon. All right, sad sad songs are over. So there you go. We had to get one in, right? You had to. So thank you for bearing with me. You know, we all go through it. Everybody's lost someone they love. Better that it be in such a peaceful way. So with that being said, got that out of the way. You know, when you're sad, if you can find a mountain and climb it, it makes a difference. I tell you, it's what you got to do. So I promised you guys some Iron Maiden, and we do a lot of Iron Maiden, like a lot of Iron Maiden. I've played almost every song in Iron Maiden's drink. Yeah. And so actually, my grandpa gave me a bottle of, I have a bottle of whiskey it was bottled in 1960 something, and it was 12 years aged. So it was technically bottled in like the 50s. I don't think it's worth that much, but it doesn't feel stupid now. Loss is loss. Grief is grief. Emotion is emotion. But so now I'm debating, I think probably at least for the day of the funeral, I'm going to open it. I'm going to take a flask. I'm going to take it graveside, and I'm going to drink it because, yeah. What are you going to do with a bottle of whiskey older than you that your grandfather gave you when you were just getting into whiskey? Send him out of the world with it. Okay, so depressing thing aside, ancient booze is the best booze. God, I hope it's still good. But I promised you guys some Iron Maiden, and I've played every Iron Maiden song under the sun, but we like tradition. So every now and again, I try to find good covers. And as I was looking for a good cover of Iron Maiden, and I know it's not the same as original Iron Maiden, but you know what? We gotta have some fun on this show, God damn it. I found something by one of the bands that I love the most. And since we are already in a slow, sad kind of mood, you guys know I love Lord of the Lost. I know Kitty Girl is a fan. I know Clay is a fan. I know many of you guys have ended up really enjoying this band, Lord of the Lost, because I have played them so many times on the show. Well, just for me, just now, just the tip, just for a second, just to see how it feels, they released a couple of covers. Yo! That's right, Lacey. Yo! They just released a song and some covers, basically called, the EP's called The Heartbeat of the Devil. Literally just released it. So I thought I would play Lord of the Lost covering Iron Maiden's Children of the Damned. Is it amazing? Yes. Is it different than the original? Yes. Are we going to get cut off on the radio station? Abso-fucking-lutely. Go fly over to one of the streams, whether it's Twitch, Trovo, Theta, YouTube. Follow, rock up, come back for next week so you can see everything. And listen to the whole song. Because we have to. We have to up the irons. So it's motherfucking Children of the Damned. You guys know the words. If you don't know the words, pull up the words. You can Google the words. You have the entire universe on a fucking pocket-sized device. Get the lyrics. Sing along. Yes? Are you walking like a small child? Goodbye if you're listening on the radio station.
His eyes burn you away. Black holes in his golden stare. God knows he wants to go.
Tell me that ain't a great fucking version. Yes. Yes. So good. So yeah, in case you weren't singing along, you have to sing along. That is a guaranteed sing-along song. Iron Maiden or not, man. Yeah? Children of the damned. All right. So with that being said, it is the end of the show. Yes, we did. We split a 𝖊𝖕𝖎𝖘 Fuzzy Peach for when we went to go see Devastation on the Nation. It was great. It was a good night. Helped me be a little more flexible in the mosh pit while I was trying to take a video crowd surfing to send to Lacey. Listen, thanks for coming back, you guys. I know I have been gone for a while. Vacations are important. Mental health is important. Love the people around you. Have a fantastic evening. If you come back next week, I will entertain you then, too. I will also attempt to not have a poopy dog, and maybe he'll be up here in the room with me. But for now, I gotta love ya. I gotta leave ya. 3 full hours if you want the playlist from tonight's whatever majigger. What was this? The majigger with the stuff. You want tonight's playlist? I'm going to quickly add it to tonight's profile. Let me grab the link for 𝖊𝖕𝖎𝖏. I will embed it and share it to all of you. If you want anything else, if you have requests, if you got music you want played, if you, I don't know, if you need somebody to push you off a mountain, then all of the good things will happen to you here on Fullforce Radio. But thank you so much. Here is the playlist. I will name it properly later. I am going to go eat some food. Maybe I'll go take another 𝖊𝖕𝖎𝖘. And next week we will do it all over again. Yes? Yes. I hope you guys had a lot of fun. Be safe. See you later. Thank you for cheering me up. Thank you.